to a crash when I met my husband during a semester abroad. He was from another university, but the same country, and we just clicked. It was magical for me, and we got engaged after dating for a year. My family was very happy for me, except my sister. She kept insisting I was in the honeymoon phase and will grow out of it. I clearly didn't, and after many, can't express enough how many, fights and attempts to reunite me with my ex, I simply let her know if she pulled anything again, I will stop talking to her. What does she do after the warning? Makes me her maid of honor and requests I spend all my time with the bridal party, aka my ex, and sets one of her friends up as my husband's date. We didn't realize until we were at the reception, and the poor girl tried to make a pass at my husband. My sister said that since we are not married, it was okay to explore things with other people. I left the party, and the next day spoke with my parents and brother. Explained that while I won't make them choose, I will not talk to my sister ever again, and if they try to fix stuff between us, I will simply cut contact with them too. My mom was devastated and tried to negotiate, but my dad and brother said they would respect my decision, and apart from 2 attempts from my mom, I haven't spoken, written, or anything with my sister in the past 6 years. My sister has tried everything to reconcile with me, from gifts to tantrums, but I simply don't talk to her at all. If we are at a family event or dinner, I simply act like she doesn't exist. At first, she made snarky comments or tried to create drama, but since nobody backed her up, she gave up. She did have a meltdown when she was informed she was invited to my wedding, but would not be part of the preparation. My brother says he feels guilty for going along with it for so long, and his relationship with my ex has suffered. They still talk, but they are not as close anymore. The issue. My mom's birthday was a couple of weeks ago, and I finally announced that we are expecting our first child. This is not the first grandchild, but is the first granddaughter. Everybody was very happy, except my sister. My mom noted that, and asked me for tea the other day. My sixth sense told me not to go, but I wanted to be positive. The first thing I noticed when I arrived was my sister's car. Then, as I entered the door, there was my sister, her husband, my ex, and my ex-mother-in-law. They wanted to have an intervention since my childish tactic has gone for so long. My ex said that he was just trying to be romantic, but he understands I couldn't appreciate it. His mom said I was just hurting my sister for wanting the best for me, and she apologized already, so I need to forgive her. I was just sending texts to my family, dad, brother, husband, and looking at my mom in disbelief. My brother-in-law had the balls to tell me I was a hurtful person, and I need to learn how to act like an adult since I am having a baby now. Then, my mom began reading a letter about how hurt she was her daughters weren't close, how my sister was wrong but she was well-intended, etc. Then, my sister read her letter and began crying and telling me basically another version of what the rest did. I said nothing to anybody, just sat there until my brother arrived. He was angry beyond anything I've ever seen before. He grabbed my stuff and told them all he was really disappointed and disgusted. We went outside and sat in his car until my dad and husband arrived. By then, I was just sobbing and he kept saying sorry. I am unsure what happened in there, but I sent everybody, except mom, an email with my lawyer's number, info attached, and stated I don't wish to be contacted by any of them ever again, and if they do, I will go to the police. Nobody has contacted me, but I know from my dad, my mom and sister are hysterical. They told him they hope to repair things, and for my sister to be able to be in my baby's life. Maybe possibly being a godmother. My dad is staying with my brother at the moment. They support me, but some others in the family don't. I've even had mutual friends call me since they are worried about my sister's well-being and asking me what happened, since she is now going by the narrative my husband is keeping me away from the family. I hate having my business in public, but I did go the public route and posted a long Facebook post about everything that happened. Sister, brother-in-law, and ex are being dragged, which, even if it wasn't 100% intended, I feel is deserved. Now, my mom has been inconsolable, which does make me feel bad, but not as bad as she made me feel with her little intervention. I agreed to have a talk with her a couple of days ago and laid the ground rules for any possible future interaction, including therapy, family therapy, clear boundaries, no sharing information about me with my sister, and separate holidays. Most important, if she ever pulls anything like this again, she will for sure be cut off. She feels this is too much, but is willing to do it. She thought it meant immediate access to baby news, and it is all solved, but I told her it is a process, and she needs to prove she has improved. My dad and brother refuse to talk to my sister, and they keep apologizing for not stopping it earlier. We've forgiven them, since they were able to move on and grow. My husband supports whatever I decide, but my mother-in-law is unsure cutting my mom's access to her granddaughter is the way to go, but says it is ultimately my decision. I'm torn about what to do with my mom. Your sister is ducking Unhinged. I am so sorry. This is over a guy you dated in high school? Obviously, your sister is horrible, and the actions you have taken against her are completely appropriate, and any pain she has experienced is entirely her own doing. As for your mother, I can't believe how selfish this was, and the guilt-based tactics she used to try to get what was easiest for her, her daughter's talking. Parents should want their children to choose the path that is best for them, and clearly that is what you have done. It's obviously up to you if you want to cut her out, but if you want to leave her room to have a relationship with her grandchild, then you could make an apology, stating exactly what she did wrong and that she will never do anything like that again. And therapy a prerequisite. Edit and update. My ex and I broke up when I was 18. He is 37 now. The reason for our breakup was that I didn't want to get married or engaged. My sister's insistence comes from the fixation of wanting the both of us to marry brothers and being best friends. My mom has always been so nice to my husband, but I am beginning to think it was all a facade, which makes me very sad. My ex has been with people since the breakup. He also has 2 kids with an ex, but he's never been married. My sister says that is a very romantic thing to do, since he has only ever wanted to marry me. I should also mention his obsessive behavior is not only with me. I know from the grapevine he was very similar with the mother of his children, but now he is refocusing on me, because my sister is encouraging it, since she needs his help on getting back in my good graces, so she can be a good aunt. My brother did start to cut him off when I told my parents I was very uncomfortable with my ex around all the time. I was living away for college, but would visit my family during breaks. He also made a very big effort to make my husband feel welcome, which deteriorated his relationship with my ex even more because he felt betrayed by my brother. Nowadays, my husband is one of my brother's closest friends, and he only speaks with my ex when it is about our nephew, sister's son, or to not be rude. Both my parents seem to be supportive of me not wanting to be around my ex so much, but I guess only my dad was in agreement. On the day of the tea party, my mom told him she was making me my favorite tea and sweets, but he couldn't stay since we would have quality time together. My dad left to go hang out with my uncle since he thought it was a nice sentiment from my mom. He is very pissed off. My husband tried very hard with my sister when they met, but now he just ignores her and believes she is mentally unwell. We don't know if she is or not. Still, there is no excuse for how she behaves. They invited the ex and his mom because they thought it would be good for me to face the root of my issues with my sister, or at least is their official version. Also, we are not Indian, not really religious. My husband and I are from the same race. There is also no wealth disparity between my ex and my husband. If there is, it would be in favor of my husband. Lastly, my sister-in-laws, both my brother's wife and husband's sisters, are enraged about the situation. My husband and his sisters will be talking with their mom about her comment. My brother and his wife are considering going no contact with my mom permanently. In the meanwhile, they will not allow her to see my nephews for a bit. The more I read, the more I think I might have to go no contact with my mom for the sake of my kid. My husband is heartbroken to think all their interactions were faked, but says he is even more enraged. She made me cry and doubt I was a good person. I realize there are still countless conversations to have with my family about my mom, but I will definitely be going for a restraining order against my sister and the ex. The proper semi-update. The state of my family so far. I had a conversation with my mother, but she insists she knew best. I am a bad person and she will be getting grandparents' rights or even custody. I am nothing what she says, but I still panicked, so we sent her a letter about it. My dad moved out immediately. He told her that he could not sign on her terrorizing his kid. My brother and his wife also decided to go no contact. I know it seems very sudden, but I think I understood the level of despair I had after the intervention. My husband told them afterward they had to think very well about what they appreciated and to be kind and receptive to everything, but would not raise a kid on a toxic environment. Reason 3,271,637 why I love my husband. My husband is very heartbroken about my mom and her fakeness. He says she will never get anything from him. That is as much as revenge goes here. My husband and sisters talked to my mother-in-law about her comment and made her understand why it was very out of it. As many of you assumed, she is a very loving mom from a loving family. My dad and brother keep apologizing for any role they played in this. My dad can't believe it went to this point. He says it is still surreal for him. Regardless, they support me no matter what and say they are willing to help me fight whatever ridiculous fight my mom or sister put. My husband, 40 male, and I, 38 female, together for 10 years and married for 7. We are child-free since he had a vasectomy before we met and I can't have children. MRKH. My husband has 2 sisters, Emily, 41 female, and Olivia, 34 female. My husband is really close to Emily. They have a really good relationship and are very attached to each other. Olivia, on the other hand, is a very different story. Despite Olivia's efforts, he always kept her at arm's length and he was always cold towards her. Olivia is really sweet. She always likes to help others, so I really didn't understand why he acted like that towards her. I have a really good relationship with Emily and Olivia. Emily has 3 kids, 12 female, 9 male, 8 female. My husband is extremely close with them. Despite him being child-free, he absolutely loves kids, and he is very good with them. Emily's husband passed away 6 years ago, and he filled his role. The kids love him, and he adores them. Olivia and her husband, 33 male, have been trying for a baby for the last few years. They really want children. So, 4 days ago, Olivia and her husband asked us if they could borrow some money from us to pay for her IVF. I was happy to help. My husband, on the other hand, was absolutely furious. He started saying things like how she had the guts to ask that from him, how he already did more than enough, how he paid and held her hand while they euthanized her baby, how he won't ever forgive himself for doing that to an innocent and that he won't ever forgive her, how none of them deserve to be a parent and how he took precautions because of that. At the end of his rant, they were both crying. Her husband and I didn't understand anything. They left and he locked himself in the guest bedroom and refused to talk to me. He left the next day for work without talking to me. I went to speak with Olivia. She explained while crying that she got pregnant from a one-night stand in 2010. She went to my husband for advice since they were really close. He told her that he would help her to raise the baby. He was totally against her A. She didn't have anyone else to talk to her about this. His entire family is really conservative. She pushed, and he paid for the A and went there with her. Their relationship was ruined after that. He stopped talking to her, and no matter how she tried, he never forgave her. She told me that no one else in the family knows about this. I went to talk to my husband about this, and we got into a huge fight. He said that he had blood on his hands and won't help a murderer. I told him that he was punishing her for something that was not his business. The fight escalated, and in the end, I told him that I won't allow him to continue punishing her for something that happened a decade ago. I told him that I will pay for her IVF. We have separated finances and we help Emily all the time. He started crying and left to stay with Emily, and he hasn't spoken to me in the last 3 days. Am I the a-hole for wanting to pay for Olivia's IVF against his wishes? Not the a-hole. If you have separate finances and want to help Olivia, then do it. However, if he holds grudges like this, there's a good chance that he could choose to end his relationship with you over that. Are you okay with that? Not the a-hole. She made the decision that was good for her at the time, and your husband helped her, regardless if he wanted to or not. Now, he's punishing her for his guilt about ending her pregnancy, which is 10,000% creepy, I'm sorry. You have a good relationship with her, separate finances, and the desire to help. He sounds irrational about the whole situation. You're a good sister-in-law, and Olivia is lucky to have someone like you in her life.